Sir, I need to see some identification. What are you doing here?
I work here. This is my office right there.
We had a report of someone suspicious in this building right now.
There must be some mistake. I've worked here for 14 years.
Huh, okay. Sure, IDs can be faked. Stay here while I verify.
Officer, my name is on the door. Just call campus security.
I don't need to explain reasonable suspicion.
Sir, I need to see some identification. What are you doing in this building? Richardson Hall, Criminal Justice Department. Thursday afternoon, 4:47 p.m. Autumn leaves scattered across the concrete steps. Students with backpacks slowed their pace, pulling out phones. Dr. Marcus Whitmore turned, leather briefcase in hand, 12 feet from his office door. Of course, officer, I work here. This is my office. Officer Raymond Martinez's hand rested on his duty belt. His eyes scanned the hallway, the nameplate on the door, seemingly without registering either. I still need to see ID. We had a report of someone suspicious in the building. A student whispered to her friend. Another raised a phone, recording. What happened in the next 8 minutes would expose 18 months of ignored complaints, rewrite police training protocols, and destroy a career built entirely on assumptions. But first, you need to know exactly who was standing in that hallway. Dr. Marcus Whitmore, 47, had spent 22 years building a reputation as one of the nation's leading experts in law enforcement accountability. His credentials weren't just impressive, they were specifically relevant. Bachelor's degree in sociology from Howard University, magna cum laude. Master's in criminal justice from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. PhD in criminology from the University of California, Berkeley, where his dissertation on implicit bias in policing won the American Society of Criminology's Outstanding Dissertation Award. But it was what he'd done with those credentials that mattered. Dr. Whitmore was the author of Constitutional Policing in the 21st Century, the textbook used by 40% of police academies nationwide, including the Riverside University Police Department. He'd created the Bias Recognition and Mitigation Training Module, mandated by the state's Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission for all certified officers. Over 15,000 officers had completed his training. 200 departments had brought him in to lecture. He'd testified as an expert witness in 30 civil rights cases. He'd stood before the state legislature advocating for police reform legislation. He'd written policy that became law. As chair of the Criminal Justice Department at Riverside State University, he oversaw the curriculum for students who would become the next generation of law enforcement officers. He served as the university's liaison to the campus police department, consulting on training standards and professional development. University Police Chief Thomas Morrison had called him an invaluable resource who's elevated our department's professionalism. On October 12, 2023, none of that would matter, because Officer Raymond Martinez only saw one thing. Officer Raymond Martinez, 26, badge number 847, had been with the Riverside University Police Department for 18 months, his first law enforcement position. He came from a law enforcement family. His father had spent 30 years with the Highway Patrol. His uncle was a sheriff's deputy. Martinez grew up believing in the badge, in order, in his ability to spot trouble. He graduated from the Regional Police Academy, middle of his class, 24 weeks of standard training, including, ironically, Dr. Whitmore's bias recognition module. He'd scored well on the exam, 92%. His supervisors described him as eager, but sometimes overzealous. His current assignment: day shift patrol, campus buildings, and parking enforcement. In 18 months, he'd received 3 commendations for quick response to medical emergencies. He considered himself a good cop, diligent, thorough, keeping the campus safe. But there was something else in his file. 4 complaints, all filed within 18 months, all from black students or faculty members, all involving the same scenario: Martinez questioning their right to be in academic buildings. Every single complaint had been investigated by his direct supervisor, Sergeant Dale Williams, a 23-year veteran. Every single complaint had been dismissed as unfounded. Martinez told colleagues he was just being careful, that he was protecting the campus. He was about to learn what constitutional law thought of his carefulness. Thursday, October 12, 2023, 4:47 p.m. Temperature 68 degrees, clear skies, golden afternoon light cutting across the quad. Dr. Whitmore had just finished teaching CJ 401, Police Ethics and Accountability. His 3:00 to 4:30 class, 37 students, mostly criminal justice majors. Some would become police officers themselves. He was heading to his third-floor office in Richardson Hall, the building where he'd worked for 14 years, to prepare for a 5:30 faculty meeting. His nameplate was on the door: Dr. Marcus Whitmore, Department Chair. He was wearing a navy blazer, gray slacks, dress shirt. His university faculty ID badge was clipped visibly to his belt. His briefcase contained student papers to grade, his laptop and XD semester's draft syllabus. At 4:43 p.m., campus police dispatch received an anonymous call. "There's a suspicious male entering Richardson Hall. He looked like he didn't belong there. He was looking around, might be casing the building." No description of criminal activity, no weapon, no threat, just suspicious. Officer Martinez was 2 minutes away. He responded immediately. Later in his incident report, he'd write that he was concerned about campus security given recent thefts. There had been one reported laptop theft 3 weeks earlier. What Martinez didn't know, or didn't check, was that Dr. Whitmore's name was posted in the building directory in the lobby, his office location clearly listed. Dr. Whitmore heard the voice from behind as his hand reached for his office door handle. "Excuse me, sir." He turned. Officer Martinez approached with purpose, hand resting on his duty belt near his weapon, body language blocking the hallway. "Campus police, I need to see some identification. What's your business in this building?" Whitmore's first thought, here we go again, another teaching moment I never asked for. "Of course, officer, I'm Dr. Marcus Whitmore. I work here. This is my office." He gestured to the door. The nameplate was clearly visible. Martinez's eyes flicked toward the door. If he registered the name, he gave no indication. "I still need to see ID. We had a report of someone suspicious in the building." Whitmore moved slowly, deliberately. "I'm reaching for my faculty ID." He unclipped the badge from his belt, photo, full name, title clearly printed, Department Chair Criminal Justice. He held it up. Martinez examined it briefly. "IDs can be faked. How do I know you actually work here? You could have stolen this." Whitmore's eyebrows raised slightly. "Officer, my name is on the door. I can unlock this office. I have keys. You can call campus security. Better yet, call Chief Morrison. He'll confirm who I am." Martinez ignored the suggestion. "That doesn't prove anything. Stay here while I verify this." "Verify with whom exactly?" Whitmore pulled out his wallet, showed his driver's license. "Same name, same photo. I have 2 forms of identification. I'm standing in front of my office, in the building where I've worked for 14 years. Just cooperate and this will go faster." Whitmore kept his voice calm, professional. This was, after all, exactly the scenario he taught officers to avoid. "Officer, I am cooperating. I've shown you 2 forms of identification. I've explained this is my workplace. Under the 4th Amendment, what reasonable suspicion do you have that I'm engaged in criminal activity?" Martinez's jaw tightened. "I don't need to explain reasonable suspicion to you. Someone called about a suspicious person. I'm investigating." "Suspicious how? What was I doing that was suspicious? Walking into my own office building?" "Look, I don't have time for this. Either you come down to the security office and let us verify this, or we're going to have a problem." "Officer, I have a faculty meeting in 40 minutes. You're detaining me without lawful cause." "I'm not detaining you. I'm investigating. If you're really a professor here, you should want us checking on people who don't belong." A student walked by, one of Whitmore's former students. "Hey, Dr. Whitmore." The student stopped, confused, taking in the scene. Martinez turned briefly. Whitmore felt his frustration mounting. This was exactly what he warned officers against: the assumption, the refusal to verify, the doubling down. Whitmore made a choice. "Officer Martinez," he read the nameplate. "My name is Dr. Marcus Whitmore. I'm the chair of the Criminal Justice Department at this university." He paused. "I'm also the author of the constitutional policing textbook your department uses for training." The hallway fell silent. Martinez's expression shifted. Confusion flickered across his face, then recognition, then something that looked like panic. "Doctor, wait, you're—" "Yes, I write the police training manual. Chapter 4, specifically, covers reasonable suspicion and the constitutional limits of investigatory stops. Can you explain to me, Officer Martinez, using the standards I established in that chapter, what reasonable, articulable suspicion justified this stop?" Martinez stammered. There was a call, someone reported." "Reported what?" "A black man entering an academic building during office hours. Officer, what race was described in that anonymous call?" Silence. Whitmore pulled out his phone. "I'm going to need your badge number, and I'm documenting this interaction." "Sir, Dr. Whitmore, I was just doing my job. I didn't know." "Your job," Whitmore interrupted, "is constitutional policing, officer, not assumption-based racial profiling." For the next 4 minutes, Officer Martinez stood in that hallway while Dr. Whitmore delivered what amounted to an impromptu oral examination. The kind Martinez was failing. Catastrophically. "Officer, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. What specific, articulable facts suggested I was engaged in criminal activity?" You were reported as suspicious." "Suspicious is not a legal standard. What behavior did you personally observe that indicated criminal activity?" Martinez said nothing. "Did you verify the address of the complaint before approaching me?" "I responded to the call." "That's not what I asked. Did you check whether I had legitimate access to this building before initiating contact?" Silence. "When I presented valid university identification, why was your immediate response to suggest it was fake?" "I have to be thorough." "Did my race factor into your assessment of whether I belonged in this building?" "No, Riverside University Policy 204.3 requires reasonable suspicion based on behavior, not appearance. Post standards require verification before extended detention. You're violating both." 2 officers arrived, backup Martinez had called, Officers Chen and Brown. Chen recognized Whitmore immediately. "Oh God, Dr. Whitmore." She turned to Martinez. "Ray, what are you doing?" Whitmore addressed all 3. "I'm walking you through a Fourth Amendment violation in real time. This is exactly what I teach officers not to do." Chen pulled up the dispatch call on her radio. Whitmore listened to the playback. "Black male, 40s, blazer, briefcase, looking around suspiciously." Whitmore looked at Martinez. "Looking around suspiciously in an academic building during office hours, where I work. Officer Martinez, how many white faculty members have you stopped for looking around suspiciously in Richardson Hall?" No answer. "I'm terminating this encounter. I'm filing a formal complaint with Chief Morrison and the university. Badge number 847. I've documented everything. Your body camera has recorded everything, and I expect a full investigation." Officer Martinez walked back to his patrol vehicle in silence. By 6:15 p.m., 90 minutes after the encounter, his body camera footage was on Chief Morrison's desk. By 6:45 p.m., Chief Morrison had watched it twice. The irony was almost too perfect to believe. Martinez had completed Dr. Whitmore's bias recognition and mitigation training just 8 months earlier, annual refresher training. He'd scored 92% on the exam, could recite the constitutional standards, apparently couldn't apply them. Dr. Whitmore served as the university's police liaison. He'd personally reviewed and approved the department's training compliance 4 months ago. Martinez's name was on that compliance list. When Martinez returned to campus police headquarters, his sergeant, Dale Williams, was waiting. "I think I just stopped Dr. Whitmore," Martinez said quietly. Williams' first instinct was damage control. "We'll talk to him, smooth this over." But Chief Morrison's call came first. By 8:00 p.m., Martinez was on paid administrative leave. Badge and service weapons surrendered. By 8:30 p.m., the university president's office had been notified. The words liability and reputational damage appeared multiple times in the emergency briefing. By the next morning, a student's cell phone video of the encounter had gone viral, 2 million views in 24 hours. The investigation that followed would take 6 weeks. What it uncovered was worse than anyone expected. Chief Morrison made a decision. He assigned the investigation to an outside agency, the County Sheriff's Office Internal Affairs Unit. His own department's credibility was already compromised. Lieutenant Sarah Chen and Sergeant David Torres led the investigation, 18-year and 12-year IA veterans. 6 weeks, October 13th through November 24th, 2023. They reviewed 47 hours of Martinez's body camera footage from his entire 18-month tenure. They pulled 340 dispatch records, every call he'd responded to. They examined his personnel file, training records, and performance evaluations. They interviewed 23 people: students, faculty, fellow officers, supervisors. Dr. Whitmore provided a 14-page statement with detailed legal analysis of each constitutional and policy violation. Martinez was interviewed twice. His defense in the first interview: "I was following my training. I had reasonable suspicion." The second interview came after investigators showed him what they'd found. Statistical analysis revealed what Sergeant Williams had apparently never bothered to examine. In 18 months, Martinez had initiated 67 suspicious person checks on campus. 52 of those 67, 78%, involved black individuals. Riverside State University's student and faculty population was 12% black. Martinez was stopping black people at a rate 6.5 times higher than their campus representation. White students and faculty, 8 stops, 12%. The investigators reached out to Martinez's previous complainants. September 2022, Marcus Johnson, 29, black engineering PhD student. Martinez detained him for trespassing in the mechanical engineering lab at 9:00 p.m. Johnson had 24/7 keycard access for his research. Sergeant Williams dismissed the complaint as unfounded, noting Martinez was ensuring building security after hours. January 2023, Dr. Angela Price, 35, black visiting sociology lecturer. Martinez questioned her outside the faculty lounge, demanded ID, asked, "What brings you to campus?" She was the scheduled guest speaker for a departmental seminar. Williams dismissed it. Reasonable verification of non-regular personnel. April 2023, James Mitchell, 58, black custodial worker. Martinez stopped him for suspicious behavior near administrative offices at 6:00 a.m. Mitchell had worked facilities maintenance for 12 years. He was on his regular shift. Williams: vigilance appreciated in securing administrative areas. July 2023, Keisha Williams, 23, black graduate student. Martinez detained her attempting to enter the library at 11:00 p.m. Questioned whether her student ID was authentic despite it scanning properly at the entrance. Williams, no relation, dismissed the complaint. Officer exercised appropriate caution. Every investigation conducted solely by Sergeant Williams. Every investigation completed within 48 to 72 hours. No witness interviews, no demographic tracking, no comparison to other officers' stop rates. The pattern was visible in the data. Williams had simply never looked. The investigators' report identified specific violations in the Whitmore incident. Fourth Amendment: unlawful detention without reasonable, articulable suspicion. University Policy 204.3, failure to base suspicion on specific behavior rather than appearance. Post-professional standards, racially biased policing. Department policy, failure to verify complaint information before initiating contact. Dr. Judith Reynolds, a police practices expert from UCLA, reviewed the case at the investigator's request. Her conclusion: this represents textbook racial profiling, the repeated targeting of individuals based on racial incongruence with the officer's expectations of who belongs in academic spaces. The investigation report's final paragraph. Officer Martinez demonstrated a consistent pattern of viewing black individuals in university spaces as inherently suspicious, despite training explicitly designed to prevent such bias. The failure of supervision to identify and correct this pattern represents a systemic breakdown in accountability. The police union, the Campus Police Officers Association, initially filed a grievance contesting Martinez's termination. They withdrew it 3 weeks later after reviewing the full investigation report, an unprecedented move that suggested even the union found the conduct indefensible. December 8, 2023, Officer Raymond Martinez was terminated for cause, effective immediately. He waived his appeal rights and resigned in lieu of termination. The distinction was meaningless. He was barred from rehire either way. The district attorney declined to file criminal charges. The conduct violated civil rights, but proving criminal intent beyond a reasonable doubt would be difficult. Dr. Whitmore filed a federal civil rights lawsuit under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983. The university's insurance carrier settled in February 2024, $485,000. The settlement included an admission that Martinez's conduct violated Dr. Whitmore's constitutional rights, rare language in settlements, which typically include no admission of wrongdoing. The university also paid Dr. Whitmore's attorney fees, $67,000. The state's Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission suspended Martinez's law enforcement certification for 5 years, until 2029. He cannot work as a peace officer in California without post-certification. To reapply, he must complete bias remediation training. His law enforcement career was effectively over. Martinez moved to Arizona 3 months after his termination. He's reportedly working private security. He declined all media requests. He issued no public apology. The financial toll on Riverside State University. Civil settlement, $485,000. Attorney fees, $67,000. Legal defense costs, $142,000. Investigation costs, $38,000. Compliance and reform implementation, $280,000. Total, $1,012,000. The university's liability insurance premiums increased 18% the following year. Sergeant Dale Williams, the supervisor who dismissed all 4 previous complaints, was placed on administrative leave during the investigation. He retired in January 2024 after 23 years with the department. The retirement was forced. The investigation found Williams demonstrated willful blindness to Martinez's pattern. A review of Williams' career revealed he dismissed 31 complaints over 2 decades with minimal investigation. Chief Morrison retained his position, but received a written reprimand for inadequate oversight of supervisory practices. He was required to personally implement all investigative recommendations. A campus climate survey conducted in spring 2024 showed a 34% decline in trust in campus police among students of color compared to the previous year. The university implemented comprehensive reforms. Independent complaint investigation. All complaints now investigated by a civilian review board, not the chain of command. The 7-member board includes faculty, students, and community members. They have subpoena power and access to all records. Anonymous complaints can be filed through the university ombudsman. All investigations must be completed within 30 days. Data tracking and early warning system. All police contacts are tracked by race, gender, time, location, and outcome. Quarterly demographic analyses are published on the university website. An automated early intervention system flags officers whose stop rates show statistical disparities. Supervisors must review and address disparities within 10 days of flagging. Body camera accountability. All footage is automatically uploaded to a secure server. Officers cannot delete footage. Random monthly audits review 5% of all officer contacts. Footage from any complaint is immediately preserved and provided to the complainant's attorney. Supervision standards. Supervisors must complete quarterly bias audits of their subordinates. Sergeants are held accountable for failing to identify problematic patterns. Performance evaluations now include specific metrics on equitable policing. Training overhaul. Mandatory bias training increased from 8 hours to 40 hours annually. Scenario-based training with body camera review by peers. The case was used to create the Whitmore Protocol. Officers must articulate specific behavior, not appearance, justifying reasonable suspicion before initiating contact. The Dr. Whitmore Campus Access Protection Policy explicitly prohibits stops based solely on someone not looking like they belong. Requires verification of actual policy violations before questioning anyone's presence in public campus spaces. The university system, 23 campuses statewide, adopted similar reforms following the Whitmore case. An independent review of the previous 8 years of campus police complaints identified 14 that had been improperly dismissed. 3 additional officers received retroactive discipline. 9 previous complainants received financial settlements totaling $127,000. The Police Executive Research Forum, a national police training organization, featured the case in training materials now used by over 1,000 departments. 40-plus universities contacted Riverside to learn about the reforms. Dr. Marcus Whitmore is still chair of the Criminal Justice Department at Riverside State University. In 2024, he was promoted to Distinguished Professor and received the university's Faculty Excellence Award. He now serves on the State Post Commission. He helped draft Senate Bill 437, which requires demographic data collection by all campus police departments statewide. The law passed in March 2024. He published a revised edition of his textbook with a new chapter, When Training Fails, the Role of Institutional Accountability. His own case is the primary example. He's keynoted national conferences, addressing thousands of campus police leaders on the persistence of racial profiling, even in academic environments. His course enrollment increased 40% after the incident. Students wanted to learn from a professor who'd lived what he taught. The reforms have worked. 2 years of data show demographic disparities in campus police stops decreased 61%. Complaint rates dropped 45%. The Martinez case is now taught in over 200 police academies as an example of confirmation bias and the failure to apply training. The lesson is simple and devastating. Credentials don't protect you from racial profiling. Expertise doesn't shield you from bias. Even the person who wrote the anti-bias training manual can become a victim. Dr. Whitmore still walks into Richardson Hall every Tuesday and Thursday at 3:00 p.m. to teach police ethics and accountability. Same blazer, same briefcase, same office on the 3rd floor with his name on the door. But when campus officers see him now, they don't see a suspicious person. They see the professor whose case changed their department. They see the body camera footage they watched in training. They see the man who proved that assumptions based on race have consequences. The body camera that recorded those 8 minutes on October 12, 2023, didn't just capture one officer's bias. It captured a teaching moment that's now reached hundreds of thousands of officers nationwide. Because evidence doesn't lie, training manuals don't implement themselves, and the person who writes the rules can still be victimized by someone who refuses to follow them. If this case showed you how deeply racial profiling runs, even in institutions dedicated to fighting it, share this story. Your engagement helps these accountability stories reach people who need to see them. Every view matters, every share reaches someone who's experienced something similar and felt alone. And if you have experienced something similar, know your rights. Document everything. Demand accountability. File complaints. The system only changes when we refuse to accept injustice as normal. Thanks for watching Bodycam Truth Files.